Hello guys. I hope you're sharp there. Sorry I couldn't give you a video yesterday, but it's a Monday. I can still make an analysis and tell you what I think on one or two charts so that we prepare for this week. And if you're new here, just make sure that you watch this video throughout so that I take you through the complete breakdown of US 100 or Nasdaq, just so that you can see how I do things in terms of using the top-down approach to tackle charts and still come up with what high odd trade setup. So, and make sure that you subscribe there. And also, if you're interested, you can just text me, preferably on Telegram, because that's where I'm mostly active, and then we will take it from there. So let's get started. So the first chart that I'm going to do will be Nasdaq, which I know everyone likes this one. And even on this chart, we've always been we always do analysis on this one. So let's just delete some of the drawings we got from our in our previous video. So let's start. So always we do the highest chart, then we move and work our way down until we get to the smallest time frames there where we can take trades. So this is how our monthly chart looks like. We've always been going through this one, and the drawings, especially when the higher time frames, they will always be the same. So I'm not going to waste a lot of time here. I'll just go straight and say, remember, when you're doing your high time frames, you need to be able to identify your key structures, so those sensitive areas where the price has got high chances of bouncing from them. So this is what I teach the guys in my mentorship. I will tell you where these areas form, how they look like, and how you're supposed to mark them, so that even when you are alone, you know how to do these things. That's why I don't give signals. I want you to be able to do what I do on your own. That's what I'm for. So this is our monthly chart. So the support will take this one here. I don't think it was taken. Okay, I think it was taken out. Let's just check there. Because if we put it the lowest point, yes, that support was taken out, meaning if it's taken out, you have to now move lower than that. So which means the support on this chart will be this one here. This is your monthly support, and this is your monthly resistance. And this resistance, remember, it did what? It pushed down and broke the support. Keep that in mind. And this time frame is what? Is bearish. So meaning for long term, we would we mustn't act surprised when you see the price still dropping like that, because of what? It is still bearish. But we are not saying that is what is going to happen, because remember, the price can turn from anywhere. So even from where it is, it can still push up and do that. But we cannot predict such movement, because of what? We don't predict that key structures are going to be taken out. So here we just need to say, this is our resistance, this is our support, and this is our bearish trend line, and the price is bearish, meaning if the price is bearish on a longer run, or at least in the next coming months or so, this has got higher chances of what? Going there. For as long as it does not challenge the bearish trend line, it will always remain bearish. So meaning, if on your smaller time frames, I do understand that when you move down to your smaller time frames, you can get setups to take trades to the upside. That's totally fine. But don't make a mistake of doing what? Of saying I'm buying now on that smaller time frame setup, and then you say I will execute. I will exit the trade next week, March. You see, now you're going long term, and the long term time frames don't agree with what you're doing. So that's why you cannot. If you look at this long term time frame, which is your monthly, there's nothing here that is pointing long term bullish move. So you see, that's why when you're trading your smaller time frames, those buy setups you're getting, don't push them too much. So just target the next opposite structures on those time frames that you're trading, and then that's enough money, that's enough profit. Because the moment you start pushing it too much, you will end up interfering with the bigger time frames that don't even agree with what you are doing. I hope that makes sense. So that is all that we have here on our monthly chart. We can see the price still has a long way to go to the support, and then at the same time, it still has some decent space to push up, maybe towards the resistance or towards the bearish trend line. So it can go either way. So we are allowed to take trades to the upside and to the downside on our smaller time frames if we get them. Now this is our weekly chart. So it's becoming interesting. Remember, on the weekly chart, okay, so on this one, if we were to take an area of support, it will be this one here. Remember, we always need to know the nearest support and the nearest resistance. It will be this one here. So that's your weekly area of what? Of support. And this is your weekly area of resistance, support. And weekly is also what? Bearish, with a bearish trend line somewhere there. And we are bearish, we hit the support, the price is bouncing from that, and it's giving us what? The bullish vibes, because we have what? Bullish engulfing. As you can see here, the bullish candlestick, or the white candlestick, is the one that is swallowing the previous candlestick. So that bullish engulfing is what you would expect from what? from a bullish structure, which is what a bullish support. So that's why if you've been holding those sell trades, you need to understand that now you've hit your next opposite structure. Yes, you understand your weekly, your monthly is still very much bearish. This time frame is still very, very much bearish, but you cannot neglect the key structures that it is touching, which is why when you touch those structures, you need to make sure that your time of selling is up. You need to lock up, lock in some profits and take out some profit also, and then maybe you can just leave one trade just in case this zone is taken out. But you can't leave all your trades open and pretend like you don't see what is happening here, because that's where you're going to be disappointed. Sometimes we as traders, we there are times where the market will give you a sign to say, look at this, look at me, there's something happening here, I might go up, I might go against you, and then you still say, no, I trust my setup, that is not going to happen, it has to drop. That is where you're going to be disappointed. You don't dictate to the market what it should do. The market will do whatever it wants to do whenever it wants to do it. So it's not up to you. It's not up to you. That's why you need to use what the market is giving you and say, because the market is saying the support is here, the resistance is here, I'm taking a buy trade. Based on the market structure, I can say this is the resistance. You hit that, I take my profit, I exit. That is how you should do it. All right. So since this one is very much bearish, and the trend line is still intact, the nearest resistance is up there. So remember, if you want to join the bears, you have to join them at the right place. You cannot just join in the middle of nowhere. If this is your execution time frame, you are waiting here, you are waiting there to say what, once the price touches that, I'll be in. And that resistance is very strong because of what? If you look back, we once had the trend line here, we once had an area of support there, and that area of support was taken out by this move, which is started by what? The very same resistance we're talking about. So which means this resistance is very strong because what it did when it pushed the price to the downside. So that is why if the price was to go up there, it will increase your odds to take a sell from there. Because of what? This time frame, yes, you can have two bullish candlesticks, but for as long as those bullish candlesticks does not break bearish trend line, or it doesn't break resistance, then it's just a pullback. That's why you can still trade and hope that the downtrend will continue. So that's why I'm saying if you want to sell, you can sell from around there, right? So that is all that we can say with regards to our weekly chart. So let's do the next one, which is a daily one. Yes, this is where things start to get interesting because of what? You can see that the structure is changing. The candlesticks, we've got a lot now, which means it gives us a lot to think of before we make decisions, right? So now let's look at the daily chart. You see the same approach that I'm doing is the same approach that I'm teaching. That's why at the beginning of the video I mentioned that I want people to be able to analyze the same way that I do, right? I don't want to analyze for them, tell them what to do, buy, sell, because the day, for instance, I'm not feeling well or something happens to me, it means if I stop trading, your trading is also gone. You see, which is not a good thing. You shouldn't rely on me. So I teach you how to do things so that even when I'm not there, you yourself will still be able to do what? Will still be able to analyze on your own. All right, let's get started. So this is our daily chart. We're still going to use the same approach, which is what? As identifying the key structures on this chart. So on this time frame, we can take this one here as our resistance, and you can take maybe somewhere around there to say there's something happening there. But it all depends on whether you take this as a zone or what. If this is your zone, then it was broken, and also the bearish trend line was taken out, then it means what? Your daily is bullish, then this becomes a support. But if not, then we can't take that one. We'll just have to go back to the one that pushed up and did what? And broke the trend line. So for me, I look at this one as something. So I'll just take this as my nearest support, this as my nearest resistance, and say that currently daily is pushing up, daily is bullish. Then I can bring a bullish trend line and put it there and say this is my support. And because we are bullish, I'll be looking to take buy trades there. That's when you start doing your assessment. And with the guys in the group, the current group, don't worry, this is what you're going to be doing tonight. You assessing a zone to say that yes, I do believe and understand that currently this time frame is bullish and this is the support, and I want to buy from this support. That's where assessment comes in to say that does this support, yes, it's a support, but does it really qualify, so that I can risk, does it really allow me to risk, is it good enough for me to risk my money from it? You see, then you will see that the guys from the previous groups, they will say yes, it's a good zone to take trades from it because of what? The risk to reward, consolidation away and stuff like that. So that's what we use to do what? To assess a zone. So this is a good zone. We are allowed to take trades from there. because of what, even when you check on this bigger time frames, the weekly, remember there, resistance is still up there. So this price coming down right now is not coming from a weekly zone, and it's not even coming from a daily zone either, because the daily zone is up there. So we still have space. Maybe this will be what our push to that daily resistance and even to the weekly resistance, so that we can get a deeper pullback. But we will see how the price reacts when it gets there. Right? So that is what you can expect from this time frame, which is what it is bullish. We are trying to reach for that resistance. We are coming from this support, and for me to join this bullish move, I'll just have to wait for a pullback so that I catch the next impulse move should it happen. So let's do our favorite time frame, which is what? Which is our H4, right? Yes, there was one guy, I can't remember who it was, in one of the groups that asked me to say, I think it's the current group. Who was it? I can't remember, where they were asking me about a gap. You can see here on Friday when the market closed, the price was there. And then we don't know what happened over the weekend. That is why I always tell them that, you can get a gap when the market opens because of what? All the pressure from the weekend, and the market couldn't move. So it means when the market opens, all that pressure is just going to kick in at once. And in this case, it pushed up all the way until there. So imagine the market closes here, but it opens there. Look at the gap, and this is H4. Right? So that's why it pushed up there and then it started dropping. And then someone was asking me about, should you get a zone there and then buy because it's a strong one because of the gap? And then I say yes, the zone, the gap is going to form. By closing the gap, it's not a must. It all depends on the momentum. So, and again, that thing of saying you close your gap and then you do this, it's not always the case. It still depends on what the overall market structure. All right. So here, this is what we have on this time frame. At some point, when we were doing the analysis, the market was still playing around there, and we did have something like this, a lower low, which means we did have actually had what we call a bearish trend line because of what? Us having that lower low. And when we had the bearish trend line, then a move from this guy here is the one that pushed up and broke that trend line. So meaning this is a very nice area of support, and is the closest one we got because of what it achieved. It actually moved up, and remember, at some point, I hope you'll agree with me here. At some point, we had this trend line there, and we had this as our area of support, and then it pushed the price up, and then we broke it. We broke it. This became a resistance, and then broken. This became a resistance. Then when we pushed up, we broke all of that. So which means this support actually broke an area of resistance, and it also broke what? It broke the nearest, the bearish trend line. So because of that, it becomes a very valid and strong area of support. And in terms of a trend line, you can put it here or you can put it there. It's fine for as long as it passes at this point as your second point on the trend line. So now currently, if we check where we're going to place our nearest area of resistance, you can see that we're actually bouncing from a nice area of resistance there. And the area of resistance that we're bouncing from, is it strong? The answer would be yes. Why? Because it is the one that pushed. Look at the takeoff from that zone. Look at the takeoff. It pushed down strongly. All right. So it is a very strong area of what? Of resistance that was touched there. And then the price started falling, which is why I will always say to you guys, when you are trying to take a trade, it doesn't matter what time frame you're doing. You could have had, maybe you've been holding from here, but now you know you are hitting opposite structure. Why don't you take some of your profits? Why don't you lock in some of your profits? Because no one knows how the price is going to react from those key areas. So that's our area of resistance. It is still holding, and this is our nearest area of support on this time frame. So this is the support, this is the resistance, and maybe this is the trend line. So what is the plan? The plan is that our daily is bullish, weekly is bullish, weekly zone is still far if we want to join the bearish move, and the daily is bullish, the H4 also bullish, the weekly is the one that is bearish, sorry. So because we're saying these two structures are still bullish, we are allowed to take a buy from somewhere around there, and then maybe it will push up, and still when it pushes up, we are still going to exit here because we don't know whether it's going to be broken so that the price goes up towards your daily zone, towards your weekly zone. We don't know that. So that is why when the price hits the next opposite structure, we are out. If you missed that sell there at the top, even though I don't think you had reasons to sell, especially if you're trading H4 as your execution time frame, maybe those that are trading M15s or a different time frame, a lower one, they could have had, maybe they had a chance to sell there. But for me, I didn't have anything if I'm executing on H4. So this is all that we have on our Nasdaq. I mean, let me try and do it this way, and maybe let's do one more time frame. I just want to mark, so we can mark it like that, and we can even mark our support as well. just so that when we're doing the H1, we will know exactly where these structures are so that we don't trade against them. So there is your trend line. So this is what you're having on your H4. And in conclusion, we said if it bounces from to that trend line and we get that confirmation, we are going to take a buy, and we're still going to exit here and maybe leave one trade running should this one be broken. So let's do one last time frame, which is our H1 chart. H1 chart, and you can see that when the price moved up towards your H4 resistance, it actually gave you that bearish rejection candlestick, which is at what, at the H4 resistance, and then it still broke the range of that pin bar, and then it took off. That is why even if you had a nice zone there, a nice support, and then you are saying it looks very strong because of what, the takeoff was a gap. That is true, but buying there was going to be very tricky because of what, where the price is coming from. Because sorry about that, I was saying that it is going to be tricky for you to buy because of what, where the price is coming from. It's not a good idea for you to take a buy trade on H1 support when the price is coming from H4 resistance. It doesn't make sense for you to try and fight that with your H1 structure. In this case, it failed. The zone failed. So now, because that one is taken out, Taban would say this is a zone. He likes this one. But yeah, so for me, I would rather take this one here and say this H1 support, it looks very nice. It's just that it's slightly above H4 zone, but it looks very nice. And yes, and it ticks most of the boxes when you're doing the assessment. So should the price come here and it gives you confirmation to buy, you can buy. But the safest area to take a buy trade would be from this one, which is what, which is your H4 support. But even if the price doesn't get there, maybe it touches the trend line there, you know you're still inside your nice H1 support, and you get the confirmation, you will be allowed to take a trade to the upside. So I don't know if you'll try and you know, it's just that now if you look at it, no support has been taken out yet. So on this time frame, we can't say it is bearish, even though it is making some nice moves to the downside. So because it is not bearish, even trying to sell from this, it's not allowed. You're not allowed to do that. You're not bearish on this time frame. So why would you want to sell when the time frame is not bearish? You see. So the safest way would be to say if it drops, it's fine. You must come to at least this H4. I mean this H1, but the strongest one or the high odd one would be the H4 level. That's how you analyze. That is how you analyze. Or you can even move lower than this. It all depends on you, your account size, and how much time you have. But I hardly do those time frames, so I'm gonna end here. So this is basically all that I wanted to share with you. I should have shared this one. I could have done this yesterday, because normally we do our charts on Sunday, but unfortunately yesterday I couldn't record. But this is what I wanted to share with you. And so what you can do is that you wait for a pullback to this, and then hope that it will push up, but you need to get some confirmation there. So that's it, guys. That's all you can expect from this one. And if you like this style of trading, you can always, like I mentioned, you can always contact me, and then we will take things from there. But otherwise, this is all that I had for you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and even suggest or recommend the channel to your friends, so that we grow, guys, and we reach more people, so that they can also get this knowledge. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.